It's so dark in here. Anyway, someone asked for the chords of this, but I thought there are too many. Well, there aren't too many, but like, I just felt like doing this was easier than putting it all into one comment. Anyway, there is no capo and it's in standard tuning. For the opening, you're gonna have your index finger on the 7th fret of the first string, your middle finger on the 7th fret of the 3rd string, and your ring finger on the 7th fret of the 4th string. And with your thumb, you're gonna pluck the first string, and then with your other 2 fingers, you're gonna pluck the 3rd and 4th string twice. So, and then you do that twice. And then you move your index finger to the 6th fret of the 3rd string, and you move your middle finger to the 7th fret of the 1st string, and do the same thing. And then you do it twice. And then for the first verse, it's basically the same thing for the starts. It's like, and it changes when you get to the second. And then you can do this 2 ways. You can either bar the 5th fret, or you can just use all 4 of your fingers to bar, all 4 of your fingers to press down on the 5th fret of the 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th string, and then with your thumb you're gonna pluck the 2nd string, and with your other 3 fingers you're gonna pluck the 3rd, 4th and 5th string. So altogether it would be and then for the next chord you will put your index finger on the 3rd fret of the 1st string, put your middle finger on the 3rd fret of the 5th string, and put your ring and pinky finger on the 5th fret of the 3rd and 4th string, and with your thumb you're going to pluck the 1st string, and with your other 3 fingers you're going to pluck the 3rd, 4th and 5th string. And then you're gonna, for the next chord, you're gonna put your middle finger on the 3rd fret of the 1st string, put your index finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and put your ring and pinky finger on the 3rd fret of the 4th and 5th string. And then you go back to the so the whole first verse would go like, days seem sometimes as if they'll never end. Sun takes its heels to taunt you, but after sunlit days, one thing stays the same. Rises sun. the second verse, you start with the same chord as the first one, but instead of going to this chord, you go to the 5th fret chord, and you do that twice. And then you go back to the chord on the 3rd fret. But instead of going back to this one, you put your index finger and your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th and 5th string, and then with your thumb you pluck the 3rd string, and with your other three fingers pluck the 4th, 5th and 6th string. And then you move your index finger to the 2nd fret of the 5th string and move your middle finger to the 3rd fret of the 4th string. So the whole second verse would go like, days fade into a watercolor blur, let me swim and haunt you, but look into the lake, shimmering like smoke, rises the moon. And then we get to the chorus, and it's basically like the last chord, but you can either bar the 2nd fret of the 4th, 5th and 6th string, or you could just use 3 fingers. I just like to use 3 fingers. And then you do the same plucking pattern with your thumb on the 3rd string, and then your other 3 fingers on the 4th, 5th and 6th. And then you move your index finger to the 1st fret of the 4th string, and your middle finger to the 3rd fret of the 4th string. And then you go back to the chord on the 3rd fret. And then you go back to the same chord that you did at the beginning. And then you repeat that. And then I like to pause it, and then you go back to the start. So the whole chorus, I'm gonna go like, close your weary eyes, I promise you that soon the autumn comes to darken fading summer skies. Breathe, breathe, breathe. And then the next, like, 2 verses and chorus is exactly the same. So the 3rd verse, like, days pull you down just like a sinking ship, that would be exactly the same as the 1st verse. And then days pull you up just like a daffodil would be exactly the same as the 2nd verse. And then the chorus is the same as the 1st chorus. So all that's left is the outro. So after you go like breathe, 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 and you return back to this. And I think you do it like twice. And then what you do is you stretch your index finger, and instead of it being on the 6th fret of the 3rd string, you move it to the 5th fret. And then what I like to do for the final chord, I like to bar the 7th fret, and then with either my ring finger or my pinky, I like to press on the 9th fret of the 6th string. So yeah, the whole ending would be like okay, I messed that up, but you know what I mean. So yeah, I will be putting all the chords in the description as well, because I know that I explained this really bad. But yeah, I hope this helps. Thank you.